Hey guys, this is Zach here back with another video. This time I am very excited to be taking a look at the Naruto Boruto card game. So for those that haven't heard about this yet, this is part of Bandai's new card game called the Chrono Clash system. This was designed by Ryan Miller. I love Ryan Miller. He worked on the original Duel Masters, he's worked on Kaijudo, he's worked on Magic sets, he's worked on a bunch of stuff. And I've just been super excited about this because this is essentially a living card game, if you've ever heard that term before. This is I think probably the official term would be an expandable card game. They keep using the word deck building, and that's not what this game is. If you've ever heard of a deck building game before, that would be something like Dominion or Ascension or... God, there's so many now. But deck building it's a board game where you build a deck as you play. That's not what this is. This is not a deck building game. This is basically it's a full trading card game in a box. So far there are two sets. There is the Naruto and Naruto Shippuden set, which is what this one is. And then there's NB-02, which is a Naruto and Boruto set. So before I go any further, Bandai actually sent this to me and a bunch of other YouTubers to help promote the game. Unfortunately, I don't know the exact release date. It just says June 2019 on their website. I know they sent these early to us, so these aren't quite out yet, but they'll be out very soon. There's two sets, like I said, the Naruto and Shippuden one, and then the Naruto Boruto one. I'm really happy I got this one, because I have not seen any of Boruto. I was definitely a fan of Naruto when it first came out as a manga, before the anime even came over here. And, so, I believe most of the characters I would potentially recognize would be in this set, so I'm happy I got this one. This is also the special edition, as you can see up here. So the first editions of these are going to be this special edition that comes with 2 tournament packs. And that's right, this game is going to have tournaments, and there will be tournament packs just like the Dragon Ball Super card game. But the cool thing about this is, like I said, when you buy this, you get a playset of every card. So when you buy this, you don't have to buy anything else. Everything you need for 2 different decks is in here, and there's even some extra cards in here. So this is not a random collectible game like booster packs or anything like that. You buy the game, and you have everything, which I love. I really wish more card games would start doing this. My favorite board games are the ones that are just basically trading card games. Ashes, Rise of the Phoenixborn, all the Fantasy Flight's living card games, I love all of those. Being an adult, I hate spending money on random packs and not getting what I want. And it just makes the game so much more balanced and fair for everybody when everything is included in one set. You're not having to hunt down those stupid chase cards that you have to win the game. I've always loved this concept, and I'm so happy that someone else is doing this now. So before I rant on too much, just kind of take a look at the box here. On the back, you have actually a sort of checklist of what cards come in this set. So there's 2 pre-built decks in this box, but you're totally free to customize the decks however you want to. There are some deck building rules, I'll get into that later. But if you want to just open the box and play, there's 2 pre-built decks that are ready to go right out of the box. It looks like one half is just the original Naruto, and one half is the Shippuden series. There's also these big double-sized Jumbo EX cards, which go in a separate deck, which are really big, sort of like summons for the most part. I really like that concept as well. You can see this game is at least available in 6 languages. The English is right here. You can see it contains 108 cards, 36 different types of cards, so you get a playset of all those. 2 decks of cards plus a sideboard of 8 cards, not 80 cards. The extra cards, which are the big EX cards. There's only 1 of each of those because you can only have 1 in your deck, so there's not multiple of those. You get 2 turn sequence cards, 2 play sheets, a rules manual, potentially 6 of them. I haven't opened this up yet, so there might be 6 different ones, 1 for each language in there. And you can see every Naruto and Naruto Shippuden set includes the same contents. Up to 2 players can play with each set, and if you get the second set, so if you buy both of them, you have enough for 4 people to play, so you can have up to 4 people all together. Actual contents may vary. Bandai's not accepting responsibility for future value of each card. Legal, blah, blah, blah. Alright, I'm super excited to get this open. I can't wait anymore. Let me cut the tape off. Alright, and I think, yeah, this is actually just basically an art print. That's actually really cool. So you still get the original box. You don't have to, like, buy a second box to have both boxes. But you still get this cool way to know that it's special, and you get to keep this as an art print. I'm probably going to frame that, actually. That is super cool. It is super neat that they thought of that. I like that a lot. Alright. So I don't know if I finished my thought earlier. There's going to be tournaments for this game. And there will be tournament packs. But the tournament packs will not have unique cards in them. They'll just be foil, awesome-looking versions of the cards you will get in this set. There is no searching for certain cards to get. You buy the game, you have all the cards forever. It looks like there are actually a bunch of different rules manuals. So we got Italian, Dutch, that's the one we need, English, put that off to the side. A Spanish, Portuguese, and a French. So if you speak any of those, you're covered in here. And it's actually a cool reason why they have 6 instructions, but all the same cards. I'll get to that in a second. Just really quick, peeking at this. This roll sheet is also available online to download. Apparently it's not 100% up to date. They've already changed a couple of little things, but I'll explain the ones I know of so far. Also inside, you get some paper playmats. These are super not necessary. Really, the only necessary part is the Chrono class gauge at the top. But you just have a spot for your extra deck, your deck and discard, your guardian stack, and the battlefield, so... in quest points. But that's really, it's not necessary at all, but it's cool that they're in there. So there's one that's the forest, and one that looks like the... Leaf Village, if I remember, from so many years ago. And then, ooh, look at this. It's all... I didn't realize it would be like a insert and everything. That's fancy. So, these are glued in. These are the big double-sided EX cards. We'll take a look at those in a second. There is both of our decks, it seems like. And then there are the tournament packs. We'll open those last, I think. Alright, so... let's crack open these decks. I am not going to go through every card. I'm just going to give you probably just a flick through of all of them. Alright, so first initial impressions. Cardstock seems pretty good. They are a little bit thicker than normal cards. They're not quite as thick as like Buddy Fight or anything like that. But they're a little bit thicker than normal, so I like that. So the cool thing about this game... is there is no text on the cards. If you might have noticed, but looking at these cards, there's just symbols. There's no text anywhere on these cards. This is one of like the 2 main unique things about this game. So basically, they've condensed all of the things that you would regularly see on a card, in a card game, basically boiled everything you could possibly think of into symbols, and just put the symbols on the card, so you can very quickly look at a card, know exactly what it does, even from across the board. You don't have to pick up your opponent's card and read through the entire, 3 paragraphs to figure out everything it can do. They're super streamlined, simplified, and honestly, like most of you are probably thinking right now, when I first saw it, I thought that looks ridiculous. That looks really stupid. I don't know why I would have to learn some kind of new language to read these cards. Why don't they just write the text on there? It would be so much simpler. Well, first of all, this means they can release this game in all of these languages and only have to update the rule manual. So that's an amazing way to get this into so many players' hands that normally would mean they'd have to reprint these cards 6 different times in 6 different languages, and that would cost so much money, and because it costs so much money, I'm sure most of those languages would just never get printed. But after watching one gameplay video of this, looks like is there 3 of each card? Yeah, it seems right. After watching one gameplay video of this, I already can very easily read these, see what all these symbols do, and it's just second nature to me now. even something crazy like that. I'm just going to walk you through real quick. So in the back of the rules, there is a breakdown of what all these symbols mean. And really, once you know like the basics, like these on the left here, the only things you really need to remember and kind of reference if you forget are these special abilities over here. But everything else is pretty self-explanatory. So like this guy, Kankuro? I never got this far, I don't think. So he says, the be, your, and the multiple cards. This means any of your battlers are your characters, gains, when they attack, they get +2 strength. That's what that reads. So, it's super easy. Again, once you know all these symbols, you just can glance at this card and see exactly what it does. And also, when he enters the battlefield, one of a chosen battler gets tapped. Super easy to read. His Guardian ability, we'll talk about that in a little bit, is draw a card and discard a card. Super easy. People complaining that this is making it so much more complicated, they have not actually tried to play the game and see what's going on. It makes it 100% easier. So there are technically two types of cards. Battlers, which you can see here, they have a strength in the bottom left, and action cards. The only difference is they don't have strength in the bottom left. That's basically it. You play them and discard them. As far as the actual like card art goes, I think most of it, they're not like screen captures from the anime. Some of them might be, but they're that weird like stock footage basically. So I'm not super big on the art. I wish it was more unique art. Oh, there's a... Oh, we'll look at that in a second. That's actually kind of cool. Is there another one of those? Hey, there it is. So I guess these are the extras in your sideboard. I actually don't know what the sideboard ruling is. I didn't see anything in the manual. Maybe I missed that. Yeah, I've already mixed these two decks up. I don't know where the actual separation is. I'll find out later. But I'm honestly not a huge fan of the actual layout of the cards. It just looks... I can't put my finger on it. Too plain, maybe? Like, something about the font and everything. I'm not a huge fan of it. But they have already announced that Godzilla is getting a set, and I like the card art in that one a lot more, so maybe it's just a preference thing, I don't know. But I'm so excited to start playing with these. So again, I'm just going to kind of thumb through them. I'm not going to stop on every single card. Very cool. Alright. So, we saw those. So, it looks like you can basically use these instead of using the playmats. So, if you just want to put these in front of you on a table, you don't have to bring the whole playmats with you. You can just bring your deck and a friend and just plop those down. You have everything you need to play. That's a really cool idea. I like that a lot. And on the back, you actually have two different reminder texts of what all the icons do. That's also very useful. I like that a lot. So some of the cards in the game will let you draw an EX card, which is what these guys are. Let's crack these open. Ooh. Those are pretty nice as well. Not super thick, probably about the same thickness as the regular cards, but I like that they're giant, obviously. So these, the only way to really tell if you're just looking at a picture is that the EX have these little gold design around the cost up here. I hadn't even talked about how cost and energy works in this game. It's really cool. I'll get to it, I promise. I just want to look through all the cards first. So this one is fast, and it has Sentinel, and when it attacks, or sorry, when it's destroyed, you get to draw an EX card. Nice. So Naruto gets his own EX card. Leadership 6. Wow, so this is crazy. So he's fast, that means he can attack the turn he comes out. And he makes every card in your hand cost 6 less. That's insane. can only ever have a copy of an EX card in your deck, though, so that kind of balances out a little bit. There's a Nine-Tailed Fox Spirit. He does +2 damage, essentially. He's fast, and when he enters the battlefield, a chosen battler gets +10 strength. Wow. Alright. Gamabunta. You can see there's also colors in this game. There's 4 colors. I believe it's red, green, blue, and purple? Yeah, purple. So when you make a deck, you can only pick 2 colors. Another thing I like about this game, so Dragon Ball Super has colors, but you never really, like, they're only there for basically to limit what you can put in your deck, and even then it's not a huge deal. So instead of doing that, they just said, hey, the colors are all kind of work with each other, so green cards all kind of do the same thing, blue cards all kind of do the same thing. Just pick 2, put them in your deck. There's no restrictions on mana or land or colors or anything like that. It's just, for your energy at least, it's just pick 2 colors, that's your deck. So, Shukaku. Hey, there's weird hand wing Sasuke. I remember that. That's actually pretty cool art. I like that card a lot. Ooh, Ninetales Cloak, 4th Tail. Always thought that was super cool, too. Garuda. Katsuyo. I remember him. Sasori. And, oops, Deidara. And Manda. So even all these symbols, again, it's really easy. This means he has reinforcements, he's fast, and he attacks 1 extra guardian. When he attacks, a chosen battler with the cost of at least 2 or less gets destroyed. Every time he attacks. Alright, before I crack into these tournament packs and see what we got, I'm just going to give a super quick, brief overview of how the game actually plays. Alright, so I have a kind of hodgepodge setup here of what a game might look like. I just have all the cards in a deck and all the EX cards over here. So, the ways you win the game are hitting your opponent when they have no guardians left. It works exactly like Shields and Kaijudo and Duel Masters. Or fulfilling 5 quests. That's another thing you can do in the game. So there's 2 ways to win the game. Or if your opponent has to draw a card and they can't, those are the ways you win and lose the game. So before the game starts, you take the top 5 cards of your deck. 3, 4, 5. And you put them face down in a thing called the Guardian Stack in front of you. You can splay them out if you want to, so it's actually easier to see how many cards are in the stack, so something like that. And every time you get attacked, if it's not stopped somehow, one of your guardians gets attacked, you reveal it, and if they have a guardian ability, which is the shield down here, that ability happens. So just like shield triggers in Kaijudo and Duel Masters, it's the exact same mechanic, except pretty much every card has this ability. Not every single card, but much, it's like 90% as far as I can tell. So for instance, if I got attacked and Toby was my guardian, it reads, I pick one of my battlers, one of my cards in my discard pile, return them to my hand, and then I draw 1 EX card. So that's what happens when I get attacked and he's my guardian that gets attacked. After that, the 2 cards would battle. So for instance, if this Toby was fighting this Toby, I didn't shuffle this obviously, so if this Toby attacked me and this was my guardian, you compare their strength, and if the strength is equal, they both get knocked out, they both get discarded. If my strength is more, so if he was 5 for instance, and this Toby attacked, his attacker would get destroyed, but my guardian always gets destroyed no matter what. So it kind of balances out those decks that would happen in Duel Masters and Kaijudo, where it'd be just a bunch of little guys, so all your shields just get attacked really quick and you die. In this game, the shields attack back, basically. So if it's just a bunch of little dudes, they always get destroyed because your guardians are going to be much more powerful. So let's have another example here. So let's say all those got discarded, and this Zetsu attacked me. So whenever you attack, you tap to attack, and then you pick either a tapped battler. So if there was someone on my field tapped, he can attack them, compare the strength. If his strength is more than mine, my guy gets destroyed. If they're equal, they both get destroyed. or he can just attack my guardian stack, attack me directly. So let's say Zetsu attacked me. Flip this over. There's no guardian ability here, so nothing crazy happens. But you can see this card has 5 strength, Zetsu has 4. So that means that this would actually blow up his attacker, and then my guardian would be discarded like always. So let's kind of go through how a turn works and why this game is so cool. So when you start the game, you put a little counter of some kind on the 0 on this Chrono Clash gauge up in the middle up here. Yeah, my setup isn't great, so it's not really going to stay there. So let's say it's my turn. I want to play this Tsunade here. She costs 5. So what that means is, my gauge is on the left, my opponent's gauge is on the right. So if I want to play a card that costs 5, I put her on the field, and then I have to move my counter 5 spaces toward my opponent. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As soon as that gauge hits the 1 on either side, my turn's over, and it's now my opponent's turn. So I still do all the abilities that happen whenever she comes into play first. So when she comes into play, chosen battler with 4 or less strength gets destroyed. So I can choose to do that if I want to, and it would be my opponent's turn. Let's say he wanted to play a Kabuto. So he would pay 1 time towards my side and play his Kabuto. You can see, though, that it's still on his side. So he can continue to play more cards. He can play another 2 cost, maybe. He could play a 1 cost. It's still his turn. Then he could play a 9 cost. You'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he could play a giant card to end his turn, basically. So he has this full field, and now I have 8 time to work with to counteract him, basically. This isn't a system totally unique to this game. The first time I ever saw this was in a game that came out a little while ago called Crystal Clans by Plaid Hat Games, people that make Ashes. I loved that game, and it was entirely because of this mechanic. The rest of the game, honestly not so great. Very convoluted and complicated, a lot of rules, but this entire mechanic of the time being your resource and it going back and forth like that, I loved that. I've almost bought the game so many times just because of that one mechanic. So I'm super happy that it's the main mechanic in this game. And then one of the last things to talk about really quick are the EX cards. So Kabuto here, if I played him, so when he enters the field, I draw 1 EX card, and one chosen opponent gets +1 Guardian. So it's a really good card because it's only 1 cost, he's 3 strength, and he gets me an EX card, but whenever I play him, my opponent gets to get an extra Guardian off the top of their deck, so they get 1 more life, basically. So when I play him, that means I draw an EX card into my hand. So it's kind of silly, because you're going to have a hand of all of these cards, and then 1 giant card sticking off to the side. I mean, I guess you could just keep it face down next to you, but it's technically in your hand like this, so it always looks weird. But that's how you get these EX cards. And to play them, they don't cost time. You basically have to sacrifice your own battlers until their total cost adds up to this guy's cost at least. So if I had this Tsunade and this Kabuto on the field, I would not have enough to play this guy. I would need to get something like Shikamaru here. And that way I could sacrifice both of these guys, which would be, what's math? 12 altogether, which is more than enough. So I destroy these guys, and then I can play Nine-Tailed Fox Spirit. So they can be tapped or untapped, so you can attack with them and then sacrifice them if you want to. And most EX cards have fast, so that means the little foot icon, so when they come into play, they can immediately attack. So these are big game-changing cards, literally big. And it's a fun mechanic as well. You also don't have to play with them. If you make a deck and you just don't want to have EX cards, you totally don't have to put them in your deck. It's only there if you want to use them. And the very, very last thing you can do in the game is called questing. So questing is an alternate way to win the game, and it's kind of cool. So basically, when it's your turn, if I had a hand of cards, I pick one of my battlers that are untapped, and I tap it and say it's going on a quest. When I do that, I pick any card in my hand and put it face down on top of that card. So then, when it goes to my opponent's turn, he's tapped, so that means he can get attacked. But if he attacks this guy, my quest card on top will get flipped over and it acts exactly like a guardian, like me being attacked, so I would do its guardian effect. So basically, all these cards I'm drawing, and all these cool guardian abilities I won't get to do, I can put my guys on quests and I'll be able to use them that way. So you might be saying, well, those are obvious traps. Why would he attack that? Why do I just not let it go and just let him sit there? Well, if my opponent doesn't deal with this guy, when it comes back to my turn, when I untap everything, I get a quest point for every one of these cards. When I get a quest point, I put it over here to the side. Once I have 5, I win the game. So it's kind of a cheeky thing, like, yeah, they're obvious traps, but if you don't deal with them, I'm gonna win the game. So it's a cool mechanic. I can't wait to actually test it out in the game, and I just can't wait to actually start playing this game. I will absolutely have video of some gameplay soon with this, after I get the move done, but I'm so excited to play this. Alright, so before we end the video, let's see what's in these tournament packs. You can see these are not for sale, these are only for the actual tournaments. There are 96 different cards in total, and they are foil. So I believe it's just one card. Yep, contains one random card. You can't use this one pack to play the game, blah, blah, blah. Alright. What do we got? I also love this because I love the random aspect, obviously, of things, but it's so much more balanced this way, so I like that it's just like the bling factor is the random thing. Alright, we got Neji. So we got a foil Neji. And this is the people that make Dragon Ball Super, so you know these foils are going to be crazy and beautiful. And that is some crazy good foiling. Alright, so I guess pretty much every card can be foil. It said there's 96 cards, and there is... where'd that box go? There's 36 types in this set, so that would be... yeah, so I'm assuming just basically every card can come in foil. Alright, and our next card is... Pain. I kind of know about this guy. Oh, he's actually, like, coming out of the frame, too. I didn't realize that. So he's actually overlapping the text box. That's really cool. Oh no, I'm gonna have to play in so many tournaments and get more of these cards now. These are so cool. And I don't know if I said it earlier, but the +1 fist here, that means they can destroy 2 guardians whenever they attack. So they always destroy 1, so this is +1, so 2. So these are pretty good cards. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I gotta get more of these. Alright guys, that is it for me for this long, quick, short video. Thank you so much again to Bandai for sending these to me. I can't wait to play this game. There's going to be gameplay videos soon. I can't wait to get them out there. And yeah, I'm just super excited to start playing this game. Thank you guys so much for watching. Questions or comments, let me know below. And as always, thank you guys. Have a nice day.